Fighting Irish take the field tomorrow in South Bend as they try to rebound from a 4-8 season, the worst since Notre Dame's 3-9 year in 2007. It was certainly a wake-up call for Brian Kelly, who responded by making changes to his coaching staff. He's excited about getting started tomorrow.
I let our football team down, not focusing on those very important values and that process, and went right to production. Just looked to replace production, and that was the feedback that I got that allowed me to put the vision together for this football team and the mission and really the values that allowed us to, make the kind of transition necessary for us to be where we are. And look, we haven't we haven't played a game. We got a lot of work to do, and it's going to be hard, but we're in a different place.
All right, let's talk Irish football with Angelo DiCarlo, the sports director at WNDU-TV in South Bend. And Angelo, we heard from Brian Kelly extensively today, nearly an hour he spent with the media. What stood out to you in his comments today?
Maybe that unprovoked, he actually used the term, the phrase national championship 2 times. I think after a 4-8 season where you have a lot of question marks on defense, a lot of changes with your coaching staff, maybe he would try to avoid using those words and try to lessen the expectations for his squad. But he did say national championship is obviously the goal. That's the only goal for this program, continuing on that message and reiterating that message to his squad. So maybe that was the biggest surprise for me, because I thought maybe he would wait for one of us to ask him about that instead of just going that way on his own.
Got to sell the optimism early, right?
Exactly.
What's the temperature like under his seat to turn things around this year after the disappointment of a season ago?
It's so strange. I sat down with Jack Swarbrick, the Notre Dame athletic director, a month ago, and I asked him those very questions about whether or not Brian Kelly is on the hot seat and everything like that. And he reiterated the fact that, well, if we were thinking that this could be his last year, we wouldn't have spent the money on a new defensive coordinator, a new offensive coordinator, a new special teams coordinator, a new strength and conditioning coordinator. So they have made a lot of investments into the program to make you think that Brian Kelly's here for more than a year, that they believe that he'll stick around. But obviously, what results on the field will ultimately determine that. The question is, how many wins does he have to come back? And I'm not really sure the answer to that. I can't imagine if he goes 6-6 that he's going to return. But if he goes 8-4, maybe he very well will be back. Then the seat will be really scolding, burning hot heading into 2018. But maybe 8-4 does allow him to return heading into next year after having a 4-8 season a year ago.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the schedule, I could see 8 wins out there, maybe even a couple more if they pull off some upsets along the way. Let me ask you, you mentioned about the new coaches. Also have a new quarterback. So on the offensive side of the ball, with the new coordinator, new quarterback, how's this new look going to be on the field for the Irish this year?
I think the offense is not going to be the problem. The offensive line will be very solid, one of the best in the country. They have very good depth at wide receiver. They have really good tight ends. They have a freshman in Brock Wright who's coming in that'll play from day one. Alize Mack was a player who was suspended last year because of academics. He's back. He's a potential top-round draft pick after this season, so he's back. Durham Smythe is a senior leader, so they have a lot of good tight ends. They got a good running back in Josh Adams. They have some depth there. And Brandon Wimbush, everyone says he's the real deal. And the Irish, won't necessarily try to throw the ball as much this year. At least that's what Brian Kelly is saying. I'll believe it when I see it, because every Brian Kelly team loves to throw the ball, but they're saying they're going to want to be a run-first team this year under Brandon Wimbush, and we'll see if that is something that does happen under Chip Long's offense.
So then I take it you see the question marks on the defensive side of the ball. We all know the turmoil that happened last year. Are those the biggest question marks for you heading into this year?
Yeah, undoubtedly. I think Mike Elko looks like he will be a very good defensive coordinator. The question is, does he have the pieces to have a successful defense in 2017? And I'm not sure he does. Daniel Cage is their nose guard out for the season because of concussions and knee injuries. Brian Kelly confirmed that news today. Jerry Tillery is really their only reliable defensive lineman. He, of course, had a major incident in the USC game a year ago where he stepped on some players. Brian Kelly's saying there will not be any suspension in terms of games for Tillery heading into this year. We all know why. They need him. They need him a lot. And the defensive back situation, the safeties is really unclear. I think their linebackers will be good, but I don't know what to expect from the defensive line that doesn't have much depth, and from the safety position. I think those are both huge question marks.
All right, Angelo, great insight. Appreciate the breakdown, and look forward to your coverage this year. Thanks for being with us on Stadium.
Thank you very much, Ray.